You are now tuned into
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Outside Insider. It isn't the pre-game show. Obviously, we've got Monday night for that, which means our stream in a few days' time will be like just an hour before kickoff. We'll try and bring you all of the pre-game coverage, breakdowns, lineups, injuries, all of the good stuff on Monday evening, which means we do have a little bit of a spot on Fridays to ease ourselves in to that Tampa Bay discussion. And unfortunately, the Eagles have taken what would have been quite a calm stream, quite a relaxed stream, and sent that back into the chaotic stratosphere as we've got a lot to get through, from AJ Brown's absence in practice and now social media. That's been the subject of conversation today, all the way through some of the other things that have been going on. Obviously, the Eagles dropped a very dismal hype video. If they've uploaded it to their YouTube channel, maybe we can watch it without them shouting at us and we'll do a live reaction to that. We'll have a look. I'll see. I'm not sure if they did. I know it went on their, what's it called? Social media. So we'll have a look. Oh, they have got it. Cool. All right. We'll do a live reaction to that. That'll be fun. And yeah, we'll just go over some of the stuff regarding the game this weekend. Thank you all for tuning in. If you are new to the stream, hello, bonjour, comment s'appelle too. Obviously, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at the minute. So plenty of ways to get your dose today. You can leave a like on the stream. Again, best way to support the show. It's only a 2-second thing, but that little thumbs up really does just help us reach more people and support the show. So it's the best way to wave that flag, if you will. Shout out to everyone that's in the chat. I mean, Zach's here, Teresa's here. Greg said, look, I've got to stop this false start stuff. I keep accidentally hitting the Flipping the Birds intro. And it's breaking my heart. It really is. I'm not a big fan of it. I can't lie. The intro is great. Their intro is fantastic. But basically, the boring answer is that theirs is called 2023 intro on the file, and mine's just some random gobbledygook. So they're organized and I'm not. So I see the word intro and I click it and then realize it's theirs and not mine. But I guess a good place to start today will be the video, the Eagles hype video that came out. Obviously, we are now a few days away from Eagles versus Buccaneers, the big showdown in the NFC, the wildcard weekend matchup that the world simply cannot wait to see. Is Baker Mayfield and his resurgent Bucs against the limping Eagles team that might be playing possum, that isn't playing possum. Either way, they dropped a hype video, and traditionally, these hype videos have been very good. Now, I don't know if you guys can remember a specific hype video for you that stood out as a very good one. For me, there was one, it must have been 2014, 2015. Nick Foles was quarterback. And it was like Thunder and Lightning. And I can't remember. It was just, the name of the song was like, it's like two Scottish people, whatever, singing like, there was thunder, there was lightning. I can't remember the video now, but it was brilliant. It got me fired up so much. There was the Brian Dawkins one where if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. That was always a banger. I can't tell if these were season previews or playoff ones, but regardless, the Eagles very typically have been hot, red hot with their hype videos. And not to be a negative Nancy, this one wasn't very hypey. Very annoying, you know, it's not great. So we'll get to that quickly. We'll start off on a positive note before descending deep down into chaos. Shout out to Little G Griffith, who's in. Great team and go Eagles. Big fan of the Eagles. Eagles kick the Bucs, but let's hope so, Griffith. And Buddy Christ is back, here to bless the Eagles ahead of their trip to Tampa Bay. So let's see what we've got. Let's go through this together because it's an experience, and I think we should all share it together. So here we go. This is your Eagles 2023 hype video, okay? Right, really, hang on. Can I change the quality? Maybe. I'm not sure it's going to let me do it. Here we go.
Fans are frustrated. We're frustrated.
Well, yeah, I think there are other ways to play on the emotion and the growing frustration and anger among the fans and the city than just a very fans are frustrated I know it's Jason Kelsey. I know he's a future Hall of Famer. He's like a full-time All-Pro. He's had the most All-Pros of any Eagle in history, not named Chuck Bednarik or Reggie White, I think. Unbelievable player. But you can't tell me this sounds a bit forced.
Fans are frustrated. We're frustrated.
And again, just before we get anywhere else, I know, there's a minute of this. All right, let's just go back to the first second here. Right.
Fans are frustrated.
That's not the woman, but the man before him was the least frustrated looking Eagles fan I think I've ever seen. That just looked like someone that's, just been told he can't have pizza for tea and he has to have spaghetti bolognese. Anyway, we move on.
We're
boy's sad.
frustrated.
Son Reddick's upset. Jalen's going. Do you know what? That's perfect. Keep that in because that sums up the Eagles team. That's great. Leave that bit in there.
The playoffs are here, and we're not where we want to be yet. This is when you're most tested as a team.
We begin storm now. The storm's gonna make us stronger.
We got pain in our heart. Let that go.
We believe in every player in this locker. In our will, in our hearts to push through.
Does it just feel flat? Does it just feel like I think it might be the music because the clips are good. Some of these clips are from, big wins. There's nothing that gets you, nothing fires you up like, hey, Kelly Green, Jalen Hurts shouting at you. That will fire you up. Kelly Green, Jalen Hurts running out of the tunnel. That will fire you up. Fletcher Cox coming out. Like any player entrance out the smoke is always a money shot. Like you have to have it in a hype video because it just looks so badass. But then you've got this like, and Jason Kelsey goes, in our heart, we are angry. We will win. And it's
a player in this locker. In our will, in our hearts to push through.
And
do anything for this team and this city.
For this city, I'll do anything.
It's time for the playoffs. Now is when we come together. It's about who wants it most.
The end's the best bit. The end is the best
I know.
bit.
We f***ing want this.
Right, just because you say an F word doesn't make it any better, does it? Just because you say an F word that gets bleeped out anyway because it's an NFL team and not like, a post-watershed show on CBS, just swearing doesn't change much, does it, really? Like,
f***ing want this.
That just felt like it. If he had just said, we want this, or like, how do you say that to the camera without it sounding forced? Like, genuinely, I don't know how anyone would say that. We want this. We want this. Like, you can't. It just does feel very like, I don't know, off. That bit's cool. That was the best 5 seconds of the whole thing. Yeah. Great camera work, great editing. It was sleek. I like that. But it proceeds.
I know.
We do want this. We do want it. Just think of it.
We f***ing want this.
He looks sad. I don't think he wants to be there, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he wants to be there. But alas. It just wasn't the best hype video. All right. Now, I'm not one to toot my own trumpet. I will say, I don't know if I can even find one. I put one up for 2 years ago. And I reckon it might be my magnum opus. I had like not the Matrix. Oh, where is it? It's here somewhere. Bear with me. Oh, come on. It must be here. I saw I retweeted it like a week ago. Oh, can I really be asked? I should have came prepared for this. Instead, I was going to have to show you like Tanner McKee highlights or something, and no one's going to want to watch that, really, are they? It can't be that many days because it's only been a few since they made the end of the season. Here we are. Right. This is Liam's one, all right? And again, I'm not trying to be... I don't know what the word is, very like Michael Scott about this and show like the Michael Scott film. But I do think the vibe is just better and a bit more. I don't know. Oh, I can't see it, can you?
When she's 10 feet tall. And maybe chasing rabbits. And you know you're going to fall.
There's a narrative. I'm not saying. I just feel that isn't as flat. There's a bit more oomph to it, you know, a bit more punch in the get it in. So I feel like it's flat, and it's unfortunately very much on par with the Eagles this season. Really, it just feels very much like a carry on of what we've seen both on the field and off of it, which is beyond frustrating in itself. But regardless, it's okay. They made an effort. I understand. They had to do something to try and turn the negative energy around. It's just quite coincidental that it ended up feeling very just substanceless, I suppose. I don't know. It sucks because they've done better. Like, the Eagles are always one of the best teams in the league for hype videos. Like, their social team, their video team, or entertainment team, whatever it is so incredibly good. It just felt a little bit flat. But we'll move on. Did they have the woman who shouted at them? They did. They did have that in there. Teresa heard it earlier. Kelsey just quoted my Facebook status, isn't a good start. No, absolutely not. I just hope they feel that way. Yeah, and look, that kind of gets us to the next point, and it was linked with, it might have been Greg's comment about, yeah, it's bad how many Eagles players are glad to be going on the road. And would you guess? Should we just take a guess? Would anyone like to guess the one player who came out with a quote about being happy on the road because the Eagles fans would start booing them otherwise? Take a stab. There's 53 of them on the roster. You got a 1 in 53 chance. I wonder who it was. It starts with a D. There we go. That helps, doesn't it? Devon said, no, I'm joking. Darius Slay. Because of course it was. Why wouldn't it be Darius Slay? Jeez. I wasn't even remotely surprised. Remotely surprised. Like, he blocked me on Twitter. I'd never even tagged him once. Just vanity searching his own name. Blocks me. Just very, I don't know. It feels very individual and kind of in his own head. And I don't really know how else to explain it. But it's just not the vibe you want from a captain. You got one captain doing that. You've got the AJ Brown stuff. And AJ, I kind of really feel for at this point. Because I think what he's tried to do today is actually something quite commendable. I think he's gone to try and, you know, go full LeBron James with the Dark Zero stuff to completely eradicate social media from this playoff run. And the idea of that is to remove the distraction from the locker room. Unfortunately, as with most things AJ Brown's done this season, it's just really put the spotlight back on the team again. Like, AJ's got all the right ideas and just no, like, the formatting's all. It's like AJ's got the recipe, but he can't cook. AJ's got all the ingredients. He's got the recipe. He's got the utensils. He just can't cook. Like, and it feels like everything he tries to do works against him. So he doesn't talk to media because he doesn't have anything nice to say. That gets blown out of proportion, and a reporter puts a slam piece on him just a few days later, and that becomes a whole thing. AJ then apologizes that players had to, essentially field questions about his actions, which is fair enough. AJ then calls a players-only meeting, takes full responsibility, and is one of the few people to actually show accountability in the locker room. Then he comes off social media completely, deletes his Instagram, wipes Twitter, whatever way round it was, and finds himself in a spot now where, again, the whole point of doing that, we presume, is to take the distraction away. He doesn't want to be on social media. He doesn't want to hear the takes, the slander, the DMs that he probably gets, the replies that he probably gets. Just leave it at home, focus on the task at hand. And unfortunately, by doing that, without really, not that he should have to, but without announcing it, all that's done is put the spotlight back on AJ Brown, who's just coincidentally missed practice this week with a knee injury. So now it just starts this whole needless echo chamber conversation of, oh my God, AJ's done for the year. Oh my God, AJ's quitting. AJ's done this. AJ's done that. And it's like, the guy is trying to do the right thing over and over and over again. And it's just like, there's one or two steps missing and it ends up blowing out of proportion and kind of blowing back in his face. And he's got to be questioning why he bothers at this point. Having said that, he's been on social media, so, he wouldn't have known. But Darius Slay would have seen it and told him, I assume. Darius would be there feeding it through everyone's ears and giving the fire emojis to everyone, I'm sure. But it's just strange. Like, it's a real shame that AJ tries to do so much, that he tries to constantly be on the right side of war, essentially, always fighting the good fight, putting himself in favorable situations, leading the right way and leading by example, which is something the Eagles could really use some more of right now. And even that ends up backfiring and bringing the wrong kind of attention to the team. Like, it sucks. It really sucks, especially when you've got the opposite, which is guys like Darius Slay, who just cannot put the phone down. I would rather have 1,000 AJ Browns than 1,000 Quez Watkins who wears his own face on his hoodie, put it that way, So, yeah, just a real shame, I suppose, is the way to go about it. Zach says, as I said on Phil's show this morning, I think the players have given up and are just waiting for next season where they're likely to get new coaches. Potentially, there was a lot of talk today about the playoffs. There was a lot of talk about the playoffs and how much it means and that the team's suddenly in playoff mode and that the vibes are different, that there is a sense of urgency there. And I think we've heard that several times already this season. And at this point, it just kind of feels like the boy who cried wolf. Like, we're not really sure what's going to happen with this Eagles team. Are they going to go in Tampa Bay and show them up? Are they going to get shown out the front door within the first quarter? Like, we don't really know what to expect from this team. And that's kind of it's a blessing and a curse, because you can be pleasantly surprised or you can end up absolutely, just debilitated after one quarter of play. It's going one or the other. Slayer's trash. Poltero says, who will be new head coach? Oh, I don't know. I genuinely still think that it will be Sirianni. I can't see them firing him. Unfortunately, just the vibe in the NFL is that if you make the playoffs as many times in a row as he has, he's still going to be a head coach. It's just the way of the world. I'd go against it. I would much rather them look for a guy like Mike Vrabel. I don't think him exactly, but someone of that same caliber, a bit tougher, a bit more regimented in his scheme. The issue is that, again, he wants some level of personnel control. And look what happens when he doesn't have it. The Titans implode. AJ gets traded. There's all sorts of conundrums with drafting and trading and players kind of wanting in and out. No idea what's going on at quarterback. It's a very dysfunctional franchise at the minute. And I don't think Vrabel's responsible. Frank Wright gave a very interesting quote. I'm not sure exactly when it was, but it was something to do with a question being asked around the drafting of Bryce Young. Obviously, as we know, the Panthers had the choice of CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. They went with Bryce, and it kind of has backfired somewhat. And Frank basically said that there are some owners that are very hands-on. There are some owners that are very hands-off. And the Panthers owner is very hands-on, and the meetings aren't fun, is what he said. Which kind of just made it feel like maybe he just really wanted Bryce Young for some bizarre reason that we don't know. And you get... I don't think that Jeffrey Lurie is as hands-on or as intense or as involved as that, but his fingerprints are certainly all over that locker room. And Howie Roseman is the same. So, yeah, there's an element of they need a coach that is essentially a yes man with a plan. Peterson was the same. Came in, lack of notoriety, familiarity with the team, first head coaching gig, was very much protected by Andy Reid in Kansas City. He called plays for like 4 games before getting a job. He'd never called plays until that season, which I believe was 2014, It would have been, 2015, wasn't it? And he called plays in he started calling plays in the second half of games, and then he called like the final 3 or 4. And that was his only ever experience. Nick Sirianni was sort of the same. Assistant coach, wide receivers coach, had gradually built his way up in Indianapolis before being poached by the Philadelphia Eagles, and now found himself then building up his scheme in a way that I guess is being molded by the above forces. So the Eagles don't want a head coach like a Bill Belichick, like a Mike Vrabel, like a Kirby Smart, for instance. I mean, I know he'd never be a likely successor, but just to throw a name out there, obviously we can't say Saban because he's retired. Joe Brady's probably a good example of someone that might be a likely candidate, but just that would have their own way of doing things because they are very involved. They do want things done a certain way, and that does come with a price. You kind of have to learn to sacrifice it. There has to be an element of trust, and I don't know whether it's a lack of it from the Eagles front office. I don't know whether it's almost too much from the opposite, where coaches come in, maybe overcommit, and then when they do start finding their coaching identity, realize that they have to go back into that box just to have any chance of keeping things alive. But I think that the Eagles need to start being flexible either way, that regardless of where this goes, whether it's Sirianni, whether it's coordinators, whether they hire someone else, they need to be just a little bit more meticulous with things and just like let things sit. You don't need to be on every detail. Let the coaches coach, let the GMs GM, let the owners own. All right? Everyone has their roles. Everyone does them. The machine works well. As soon as it starts overlapping is when you typically end up in states of disarray, which this team genuinely end up in more often than not, which is beyond frustrating. Zach says that AJ seems like a really good dude. He's just used as a scapegoat far too much by the media because of how normal he seems. He does feel like a very approachable guy. I mean, for someone that is built like an actual transformer, always got time for reporters, most of the time. Very friendly and approachable, like we said, but by his locker room. Like, I know when we had access to training camp, there was only good things said about AJ. It's just one of those things where, because he is very not emotional, but you can see he wears his heart on his sleeve. And if he's not satisfied with something, if something goes wrong, is expressive. It's not like Jalen Hurts, where you can't really tell if Jalen Hurts is, had a blowjob before the game or has potentially just received some, tough news. Like, his mood will always be the same. And whether he starts the game with 5 interceptions, whether he starts the game with 5 touchdowns, he'll sit on the sideline staring. If A.J. Brown has 5 touchdowns, he's chirpy. If A.J. Brown has 5 drops, he ends up being quite snappy, quite irritable, snaps at opposing sidelines, gets in the face of opposing cornerbacks, lets the coach hear about it, lets the quarterback hear about it. And I think because of those, they're not outbursts, but because of those, that more expressive personality, it does draw a limelight, because those are the shots the cameras pick up. No one wants to really zoom in for a 30-second shot on Jalen Hurts staring, because it's not good television. An NFL player fired up and being emotive is far more valuable to them. So you just do see a lot more of AJ because he is a star, and he does have that personality of one. Whereas Jalen's sort of a star, but with the personality of just this resolute rock that shows no emotion no matter what the scenario. So, he does kind of get scapegoated to some degree. I mean, the Marcus Hayes hit piece was just dreadful in every sense. But alas, I think hopefully as time goes on, there'll be a better understanding of AJ and the type of person he is. It just sucks that right now he's being viewed through a lens where it's skewed because of how bad the team is. Like last year, no one had a bad word to say about him. This year, because the Eagles are struggling a bit and they've gone 1-5 in their last 6, people look for a person to blame. And if you look at, any, if you look at it's a school of fish, is that the terminology? And there's one colourful one flying around like that, and there's all of the rest just going very slowly, you're drawn to that one. You just are. Well, that's the reason that's happening. Like, it just is the way it works. You get drawn to what you see, and because AJ's most visible, he's the most present of the players on the sideline and reacting, it sort of happens. But yeah, Sam Ruddock says all. Maybe saying hello all. But then he does say, my lad to Dickerson Lane, want to get Kelsey back to the dance, they'll work for him. I really hope so, Sam. I really hope so. And this is something that I'll write. I feel like every Friday is our weekly announcement of David Neese, who we brought on recently as a writer at PSN. Wrote a brilliant article a few days back on the duo of BG and Fletcher Cox, who have been together through so much, played on that same line through so much, in the same vein as Kelsey and Lane, that they were brought on around a similar time. There is a chance that BG, that Cox, that Kelsey, we are going to see their last game in Midnight Green. This could be it. Like, make no mistake, there is every chance this could be it. And if that doesn't light a fire under the team, I don't really know what else can at that point. Because you're talking about guys that between them have got, multiple, like tens of all pros, tens of Pro Bowls, 2 Super Bowl appearances each now, both of them. They've been in the top 5 of their top 10 of their position, respectively, for about 7 years, each of them. And the fact that they might not be there after this year, and the fact that the Eagles really do need to live up to them, and they need to kind of just like perform for them, it's a weird scenario. But the fact that, again, like, if put it this way, if it's your final day of school and you've had the same teacher for 4 years and you know you're never going to see the teacher again, you do just behave yourself a bit more, don't you? You don't take the piss and start like misbehaving and throwing things around. Like, it's the last time you're going to see the teacher. You behave, you make sure it's nice and pleasant, and you have a big soppy hug at the end of it, probably, or just get them to write on your shirt. So I think that the Eagles have to take that same approach, that a lot of these young guys would have grown up watching Jason Kelsey. They would have grown up watching BG, Fletch, Lane. And the fact that 3 of those 4 could be playing their last snap as a Philadelphia Eagle is very scary, because forget the succession plan, forget life after them. Just from a point of what those players mean to this city, what they mean to this team, they have been cornerstones for the best part of a decade. And the fact that overnight, potentially gone, it's a lot of leadership to lose. It's not just one guy. It's not just Jason Kelsey. Fletcher's become such a mentor. Like 4 years ago, Fletcher Cox was running around, shagging people's wives, getting into altercations, people coming to his house with shotguns, all sorts of stuff. Now he's very much a leader. He's embraced that older mentor type role. BG's the same. BG has kind of taken guys like Josh Sweat under his wing to really develop them. And to lose all of that in one go will be tough. So I'm hoping the younger students of the game, the players that are part of this next generation of Eagle, really do put on a show. And they do want to work, like you say, Sam, for those veterans. That they want to perform. They want to win. I think David said in his post there was something from Michigan called like win one for the Gipper or something like that. It's very much that. Like, you win it for them at this point. Forget the team. Forget yourselves, because that ain't working. You ain't going to win it for Nick Sirianni. You're certainly not winning it for Brian Johnson or Matt Patricia. Win it for the guy next to you. And if that guy next to you is in his final football game potentially, and you have the responsibility to shape that, that's the other thing. Like, you have the responsibility to make that game extend one, to give him a short-term extension, to get him to the next round of the playoffs. And it's all, you kind of take that ownership of, if you mess up, if the Eagles lose to the Bucs, and then Jason Kelsey retires, BG retires, Fletch retires, it's sort of on you. Not as wholly as an individual, but certainly to some extent. So there has to be some level of ownership of, let's do it for them. Do it for those guys that have been here, that have helped us, that have got us to this point, that have been the rocks and shown us the way. They're passing the torch now. This is our time now to step up, to make an impact, and to show that we are ready to carry the next generation of Philadelphia Eagles football. And I think that has to be an overwhelming emotion going into the game for sure. As we approach the halfway stage, guys, thank you all for hanging out on this Friday evening. I know there are probably a wealth of exciting things to do wherever you are, but it means a lot that you're spending it with moi and the Core 12. It's now actually Core 18. Look at that. If you're new to the stream and haven't given it a like yet, it would be amazing if you could. Again, just the best way to support the show. And as a thank you, we mentioned it yesterday or Wednesday stream. We do currently have the official best ESPN Bet promotion that there is. Like, you physically cannot find a better one. I don't know how we got this code. I don't know why. The game's the game. You do what you got to do, okay? But the ESPN Bet app obviously came out a few weeks back. Everyone downloaded it over Christmas. got their sign-up bonus. Lovely. If you were late to the party and you sign up today, you get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first wager, okay? When you use code Philly, which is in the description along with a link to the app, you get 150. And if you sign up on ESPN Bet on its own, it's 100. If you use any national link, any national podcast link, it's 100. For some reason, we're one of like, I don't know how many, but very few that have an extra $50 for free. I couldn't tell you how, I couldn't tell you why, but I don't think it'll be there very long. So make sure you're taking advantage of that if you do want to, play some wagers this weekend for sure. Nice to see Battlehawk Superfan, or formerly known as TMC, who has maybe ditched the Bills ahead of knowing they're not going to play a playoff game this weekend because it's a very snowy stadium, and has decided to go for the Battlehawks. It's a brave decision. You have to respect it. I like to think I'm mentally prepared for whatever BS comes this offseason and beyond. It is going to be a very, very fun offseason. I just realized I've not said hello to K1 or to Tom. So a quick hello to you guys. And that is a very funny comment, Tom, to be fair. I couldn't really imagine it because Devontae does feel very shy just as a personality. And I think that's why I'm more drawn to a guy like Devontae Smith as a player. Like, he is very much a Jalen Hurts character as a wide receiver. But you wouldn't think he's an elder of the two on game day. Absolutely not. It's quite funny. But this offseason will be wild. And that's the other thing, is that regardless of what happens this weekend or Monday, just strap up, buckle in, strap in, buckle up, buckle round. Do whatever you want to do with that buckle. But it is going to be a slog of an offseason. Just for context, I'm sure we're going to look at this page quite a while over the next few months. So we won't spend too much time on it now. But I feel like a school teacher saying that. But let's just quickly take a look at their contract situation, because the Eagles do have some very, very interesting decisions to make when it comes to the shape of the roster this season and beyond. We go to contracts on spottrack.com. Brilliant resource for anyone that is interested in NFL contracts, how they're formed, who's got what, whatever. It's interesting. Can we go to free agents 2024? Here we go. Right. Jason Kelce, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. That's a core of your team that is probably going to go. All over the age of 33. You can't pay Fletch $10 million again. You cannot pay him $10 million. Jason Kelce got one last payday as like a goodwill gesture, I think. Was it a bit much? Not considering he's still one of the best in the entire league. BG's been a bit quiet, but I think those three losing's huge. Not really asked about Mariota. Swift going could be big. Boston Scott will probably come back on a tender again like normal. Every linebacker that you've ever had, all three starting linebackers are gone. Cunningham, Morrow, Leonard. Once again, you're left with nothing but Nakobe Dean. Justin Evans, no real loss. Rashad Penny, no real loss. Cyril Opeta might come back. Braden Mann could come back. I'd hope so. He's shown enough. Jack Driscoll, I don't know. He's been a bit wobbly at times. Sean Bradley, Quez Watkins can go. Not asked. Jack Stoll. There's 19 players. And of those 19, if you just sort it by age, realistically, 1, 2, 3 aren't coming back, guaranteed. It should be guaranteed, unless they go full Jason Peters. Mariota shouldn't be, that's 4. Cunningham, maybe. Depends on if they change coordinator. We'll put maybe for now, but we're at 4. Boston, maybe, hasn't done anything this year. Morrow, maybe. Shaq Leonard, no. Evans, no. Penny, no. Opeta, yes, that's 5. Driscoll, maybe. Bradley, maybe. Zacchaeus, maybe. Mann, yes, that's 6. Jack Stoll, give up at this point. I don't think he's shown anything in 3 years of being here. Albert O, no. Quez, no. So that's 6 players out of 19. So you're basically losing 13 players off the bat, right? And they're not just... A lot of those are key players. You're 3 starting linebackers, a starting defensive end. Obviously, you've got Tyler Steen to replace Jason Kelce potentially, but it is going to be a tough offseason for sure. It really, really is. Win it for the fans, says Mob843. I hope so. They need to do something. The noise coming out today and yesterday saying that, the Eagles should be thankful they're on the road and that the players are happy they won't get booed. Look, the last time the Eagles went to Florida, I'm pretty sure they took it over. I'm not sure there's a way to track road tickets, is there? It's not like in England with soccer where you've got a home end and away end, so you can't really tell how many traveling fans there are. But there was a lot of Eagles fans. Like, the Eagles might be one of the most well-traveled fan bases in the entire league. They support the team everywhere. We know that. There isn't a venue they won't go to. There isn't a county, a country. I suppose country, hey, they came to England. But there isn't a city they won't go to support the team, right? Whether it's East Coast, West Coast, San Fran, Vegas is always a big one. The Vegas gets completely taken over whenever they play a Vegas team, or Los Angeles. So realistically, they're still going to get booed. So this noise coming out like, oh yeah, thank God it's on the road. There'll be no Eagles fans in Florida. Darius, buddy, old pal, you must not know Eagles fans because they're everywhere. They're omnipresent. They're omniscient. Whatever the other one is, they're omni-loud, all right? They're going to be in your ear for the entire game. And if that offense starts shaky, if the defense starts shaky, look out. Isaac, can't believe I'm 30 minutes late. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed, Isaac, all right? I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I'll let you off this one time, though, because I love you. Sam says we need Fletch and BG to stay around so Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis can improve quicker. I do love that thesis. Like, it's perfect, really. I think the best way for Jalen specifically, he's ready for a starting role. I think Jalen Carter's proved that this year, that he's very much a starter at the NFL level. Drop him into most teams, he'll be a starting tackle. Defensive Rookie of the Year, likely. Jordan Davis, outside of being built like Godzilla, according to Brian Baldinger and his fingers, is I think he's been solid. I don't get the hate with Jordan Davis. It's just because he doesn't put up numbers, which is a space-eating defensive tackle. You shouldn't. And I'll go back to... I wish I could find the file. I'll have to dig through my email. Let me see if I can. All right. This will be really interesting. And I don't know if I can get this up because we are digging in. I don't even know if I'm allowed to show it, to be honest with you. I really don't have a clue. But I mentioned before that I used to do some work when I first started PSN for an agency that had just started up. I don't think he does it anymore, which is very annoying. Can I get the... I'm trying to look for a document. I forgot I used to do so much for this. Wow. He had basically, this agent had a client that was a defensive tackle, and the tackle got a few trials with NFL teams. I don't know if that's a tryout, I guess, with NFL teams. So, that's not it, is it? No. Oh, come on. Yeah, I can't find what I'm looking for, which is very annoying. Yeah, this is very annoying. All right, never mind. I'll see if I can dig it out some other time. Never mind. Hang on. No, we can still go. We're all right. This is really interesting. I kind of really want to find this because, come on, what's this? Oh, it's just breakdowns. Oh, come on, Liam. Be better than this. But we are talking like 2019 emails, by the way. But I promise it is quite good. Is this one of them? Yeah, all right. So here's what I'm saying. This does make sense, right? I promise. Again, I don't know how much I'm allowed to show. But I used to make these for an NFL agency. Oh, that just zoomed it in. How do I go next page? Arrow? How do I go next page? You scroll down. So just looking at their tendencies, looking at coordinators. This was for a long snapper. So you're looking at whether there's room, that sort of thing. But a lot of it will be schematics and like the people they've got on the roster. I can't really be sharing this. This is going to be stupid, isn't it? I'm just showing you emails now. But if I go, is it going to work? I don't know what this is. All right, yeah. So something like this, okay? So you're looking at like current defensive tackles. We're trying to find a landing spot for this player. I really loved it. It's a shame the guy like stopped doing it because I had a lot of fun. I'd love to get back into something like this. But essentially, you're looking at where players are contracted, the type of players that are on the team, and where your client fits. So it's not as easy as like, oh, by the way, here's X player, he's a defensive tackle, this team needs a defensive tackle. It's like, well, this guy's more of a nose tackle. He's more of a space eater. He's more of a pass rusher. His strength is going to be double teams. His strength is penetration. His strength is stopping the run. His strength is like just avoiding getting wash blocked, whatever it is. Like, there are so many different types and pros and cons of defensive tackles, you're trying to find a niche for a guy that's essentially an undrafted free agent to catch on. And one of the teams, there is an element to this, but where this guy caught on eventually, he had a couple of tryouts with the Texans. And I can't remember the guy's name, but at the time there was a defensive tackle they had that was like 6'4", 320 pounds, just an absolute mauler that would suck up double teams for guys like at the time JJ Watt, Brian Cushing, potentially back in that sort of era, to do business, right? To go crazy with it. And there are a few others. I can't remember the names now. We're talking like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even longer than 6 years ago. I don't know. But yeah, you just quickly learn that like it doesn't really matter that a defensive tackle doesn't put up stats. Because when the Texans were looking at this player, who I can name is MB Tanyi. I don't know what he's doing now. I just, out of sheer curiosity, last I knew he was in the CFL. He's now with the Maryland Terrapins. No, that's his college, Liam. You moron. You absolute moron. That's obviously his college, isn't it? You're an idiot. You are an absolute idiot. You're a fool. You're an idiot. I don't know what he's doing now. But he was in the CFL with the Calgary Stampeders. He got a few tryouts there. They caught him on. It was very good. But essentially, yeah, you just learned that like they weren't asking him to come in to get 2-3 sacks a season. They weren't trying to bring him in to get 4 or 5 sacks a game. It was they wanted to come in and fill a role, which is eat space, suck up double teams. Can you allow people like the edge rushers to do their job? And when you've got a pass rusher as volatile and as explosive as Hassan Reddick, when you've got guys like Nolan Smith that could do with the extra, I guess, reinforcement to open them up, you need someone to draw attention to allow those isolated matchups. And that's exactly what Jordan Davis does. I could have just said that, but I just found that perspective really fun. And I do miss doing it. It was quite cool. I used to send like recaps of roster moves every single day and all sorts of stuff. It was a really nice looking like tendencies of like how many players go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the draft, and then how many stay in the league. And that there are actually more 7th round players in the NFL now than there are former 1st round players, or there was at the time, which is a bit mental when you think about it. That there's genuinely more 7th round talents in the NFL than there are 1st round talents in the NFL. So it kind of just, I don't know, recalibrates your brain a little bit. Maybe I'll dig some files out and we can go through them in the off season and look at what we used to get up to back in the day. I hope I haven't just run myself into a lawsuit or something, but it was pretty cool. BG's wash, mate. Mosquito attention span strikes again. Yeah, my bad. Sorry about that. Let's have it. Eagles will win Monday, no doubt. It's Ezekiel Major. I hope so. I super hope so. Eagles players in the UF. I've not done it yet. If I'm honest, I took a morning off today. This has been a rough week for me personally. Just a few things piling up, so I haven't really had time to sink in. So I will do probably like it'll be an off-season thing. I think like as soon as the playoffs are done, then we'll probably look at it then. But I'll start work on it. Jenkins replaces Kelsey Iwanka. Yeah, I suppose, or whichever. Yeah, Jenkins or Steen, whichever one. I suppose it would be Jenkins. Yeah, probably right there. In all seriousness, I don't understand what people expected out of JD. Exactly. Me too. It's people look at him, see, whoa, it'd be so powerful, man. Look how big he is. He can move everyone out of the way and like sack quarterbacks and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but he's also can sustain a lot. Like that's why he's there. That's the whole point. He'd be much better suited in a 3-4. I'll say that. I think in a 3-4, he'd be at home. The fact that this is like a weird hybrid where it's still technically like a 4-man front and he is in an isolated matchup a lot of the time, it is tricky. So people maybe are expecting it from that. Shout out to Roosevelt Artists for liking the stream on Facebook. Again, I can't see the ones of you that have done so on YouTube, but if you could just hit that grey thumb, turn it blue for me, that would be great. That would be absolutely brilliant. I'd really appreciate it. Liam said, make a wager on the game. God, what do you mean? A wager? A wager? What do you say? A wager on the game. Make a wager on the game. How do you say it? A wager. You're going to wage your money. Wager. I'm confused. Have I decided on my favorite Banchan? No, I've not. I've not looked at any. If we run out of content in this stream, we can go back over it though for sure. Should the Eagles win? Yes. Can the Eagles win? Probably. Will the Eagles win? I don't know. Probably the best way to describe that, isn't it? Really, they should win. They should win. They beat the Bucs. The only thing that concerns me is that the Bucs came in hot. Like the Bucs did what the Eagles should have done. Okay, what Tampa Bay has done this season, in essence, is what Philadelphia should have done. Tampa Bay made a change because nothing was working offensively. Baker Mayfield and that coordinator gradually got to grips. They put in extra work. They find out what works. And forget the 9-point performance against Carolina. The offense looked good. And it put up enough points to win a consecutive run of games to get them to the playoffs. It stopped the bleeding. They had a horrific start to the year. Tampa Bay was down and out. Like, make no mistake, they were a horrific team for about a solid 6 weeks of the season, 6-7 weeks. And like Buffalo, they made a change. They saw that something wasn't right, something wasn't clicking. They were quick. They were impulsive. They made a change, and the team benefited because if you do it mid-season, there's no time to... You've got time to let things settle in. Sure, it's fast-paced, and you've got games left, right, and center, but you've got time. You can acclimate it. You're allowed that process. Philadelphia doing it 3 weeks before the end of the season, when you're going to feel the benefit 5-6 weeks in, is stupid. So there's that. Goddard must have a huge game. I think he does, especially if AJ's out. If AJ Brown is down for whatever reason, he's going to need to be on his A game. There's no mistake in that. Dallas Goedert, I think for me, has been very much a B player in this offense for the past couple of years, purely just because there's so much talent around him. When you've got a top 8 rushing offense, when you've got 2 top 10 receivers, one of them's ranked 5th on the receiving list this year, it's hard to get the ball. It's hard to get those targets. So it is that. I saw Isaac said you should do a playoff prediction before. I'll do that now. I think we can do a bracket, can't we? And Timor is in. Nice to see you. I did see your comment earlier. I'm sorry I missed it. Haley, I saw this angle on Twitter for the Eagles and wanted to get your thoughts. If the Eagles know it's a trip to San Fran, if they win the wildcard game, do you think that would be a form of motivation? I don't know. Is it bad that I don't know? If they win the wildcard game and they know it's a trip to San Fran, is that motivation? Or is that... If you say, there was a clip on Twitter after the game or during the game, if the Eagles and Niners, where the Niners are just surrounding an Eagle player, and I can't remember which Eagles player it is, but they're just surrounding him like a pack of wolves. And it felt like a canon event. Like, that was the moment everything would then go on tits up. Like, the Eagles got slapped so hard, they forgot who they were, they got concussed, they don't have a clue where they're at, what they're doing. And it feels like that's kind of come on. So, like, would it incentivize them to walk back into San Francisco, to be hungry enough to have an opportunity at revenge for that blowout? You'd like to think yes, but at the same time, you'd like to think that being blown out by the Niners in the first place would be enough motivation to not get slapped about by the Cowboys. And being slapped about by the Cowboys will be enough motivation to not lose to the Seahawks. And losing to the Seahawks will be enough motivation to not lose to the Cardinals. And losing to the Cardinals will be enough motivation. Do you see where I'm going? So, like, as much as it's a great theory, and as much as I do agree with it, I unfortunately just think that it's beyond that at this point. Like, it has to come from in here. There's only so much an external flame can burn. You know, a candle's going to burn out eventually. You need some like reuse, you need like a volcano or something. I don't know what's a renewable energy source. You need something to keep going. You need a hybrid car. It's a terrible comparison, but like it's gonna burn out in the cold. The Eagles, like all of those external flames of we should beat this team, we're better than this, we have to be accountable. Just one by one, those candles are burning out. It's the one in there that matters. The one in there. Let's have a look. I fancy a lovely bracket. All right, let's do a bracket then. Let's do a playoff bracket. At least, hey, that's easy TikTok content. I've been grinding TikTok for 2 weeks, right? None of it's taken off or done anything more than 200 views. I slag off someone that was being a dick, and he got like 6K. I don't really understand that, but hey, game's the game. Okay, so let's do this playoff bracket. What have we got? Can I just choose? Can I fill it out? I can't fill it out, can I? That's annoying. I have to edit it all on. Oh, fuck's sake. Fill out. Excuse my French. The ESPN have one. that I can fill out. That's not a bracket, ESPN. You say this every time. Every time. That's not a bracket. That's a long article. No one's reading. I'm not reading all that, mate. But whatever. Okay, fine. We'll go back to the other one. We'll use that. Bear with me. Sky have theirs. What? Can you fill it out? Okay, that's interesting. Super Bowl. I'm typing it with one hand. I'm not good with this. Sky Super Bowl bracket. Now just watch Super Bowl. Ha. Here we go. What's this? That's better, sort of. I think. Does it work? How do I click it? That's just play. That's just a video. Oh God, this is. I got to register. Oh gosh. Can't just fill it out. I'll stop picking. We're in. Don't you worry about that. We are in. All right. Okay. We'll start on the AFC because we'll save the worst till last. Browns, Texans. I think I'm most excited for this matchup of all of them. Purely because me and Joe Flacco are best mates. All right. He loves it. I'd love to see the Browns win, but I also really want to see the Texans do well. Like, CJ Stroud's done great. I think D'Amico Ryans is a phenomenal coach and a former Eagle. I think Nico Collins is fantastic as a wide receiver. Like, I just love what they're building, and I hate that the fact that the Browns are Deshaun Watson is there. So, like, I'm torn. My heart genuinely says at this point that Flacco's been to the playoffs. He knows what it takes to win. He's a Super Bowl MVP. It's CJ Stroud's first game. And as much as he achieved a lot with Ohio State, it's a different pressure when you're doing it against grown men who've also been in these situations before. And for that reason, I am going to go Cleveland. I think the Browns win because Joe Flacco has been there before. He's got the hat. He's got the T-shirt. He's my best mate. I think he pisses it. I think it's a no-brainer that the Browns go through. The Browns can ride the run a little bit. I think they'll be fine. I mean, Amari Cooper is playing well. David Njoku is having the breakout that people thought he would. I think the Browns win. Dolphins and Chiefs. I'm going Miami. And the reason I'm going Miami is because forget the fact that the game will be played in freezing cold and Miami's hot and they won't know what to do. It's only a bit of snow, all right? They've never seen it before. They're not like running on water, are they? It's snow. It'll be very cold for them, sure. But as such is life, all right? It's not like you're asking them to play it on the moon, is it? It's football. It'll be fine. The difference is here that KC's run defense isn't fantastic. And playmaker-wise, I just think Patrick Mahomes has nothing. We said it when the Eagles played the Chiefs. I didn't fear the Chiefs because they've got Rashee Rice at wide receiver. That's their top guy. There's no one that they've got. Sky Moore. What's a Sky Moore other than someone that ruined my fantasy league? There's not a single receiver on the Chiefs that inspires fear. Tyreek Hill against his former team. Tua can protect the rock. Jalen Waddle's fantastic. They've got a great run game, especially if Raheem Mostert's back. And they're going to really capitalize against the beatable Chiefs defense. So I think Miami wins. Out of Pittsburgh and Buffalo, yeah, I don't need to debate that one. Buffalo wins, isn't it? We'll go conference by. We'll do wild card first. Where do we go? Let's start Green Bay, Dallas. It's in Dallas, isn't it? So it has to be the Cowboys. As much as I don't want it to be the Cowboys, it kind of has to be because, again, young quarterback, hasn't really been there before. The Packers are trending in the right direction, but is that enough? Is that enough to beat a superstar Dallas team? Dallas fold against teams like San Francisco. They don't fold against teams like Green Bay. So I think the Cowboys will win. And I think at home, they're undefeated in 16 home games. I think it's an easy win. Los Angeles and Detroit. Oh, the Matthew Stafford revenge game. God, it's so hard. I mean, my heart says Detroit. Detroit's the better team. The Lions are the better team, okay? The Rams are okay. It's fine. They had a brilliant resurgence from the mess that they were last year, but the Lions just have a lot more oomph to them. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has been brilliant this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been fantastic. You're seeing a different level from a quarterback that is just settling into this system now. Defensively, they've been great. I don't think Detroit are going to fear LA in that game. I don't think Detroit is going to be worried about the Rams. Like they'll take care of business. Eagles and Bucks. I'm going to go with... This is horrible. This is actually horrible. I hate that this is a no. The Eagles are like one possession. They're like 8-point favorites as well, I think. Like, this should be a no-brainer. There's no reason I should be able to think about this. I think the Eagles win. I think that the Eagles win, okay? Because realistically, if they can make Baker Mayfield throw deep over and over again and get him off his rock and get pressure on him, they'll be okay. They don't have a run game. The thing for the Eagles will be dictating that they have to assert the run early. They cannot pass in that game. No bollocks QB screens, no big vertical plays, no just unrelenting bollocks, okay? They need to establish the run, to commit to it, and stay riding it. Because otherwise, you're going to get eaten up by Chris Godwin, you're going to get eaten up by Mike Evans, and Baker Mayfield, just like... what's his face? Bloody Seahawks quarterback. Oh, I forgot his name now. It's so annoying. Oh, you know the one I mean. Just like Drew Lock. There we go. Just like Drew Lock a few weeks ago will just come alive, get Baker and Drew Lock are quite similar, aren't they, in that regard? That they're quite confidence-fed quarterbacks. If they get hot, they can be among the best that can throw. If they're cold, they're abysmal. They're one of those, like, the two. There's no even middle ground. So Baker Mayfield, if he has to throw from 14 points down, the Eagles have an advantage. If the Bucs are controlling the tempo because the Eagles abandon the run, that's an issue. I'd like to think, after all we've seen for the past 5-6 weeks, the Eagles get it right. I'd like to think they get it right. So I'm going to say the Eagles win here, which would mean the Eagles face the Niners, the Cowboys face the Lions, and over here we've got these. So we'll go back to the AFC. Browns and Bills. That is hard. I'm going to say Bills. I would love Joe Flacco to do it. I would love the Browns to do it. It would be a great story for the NFL, but realistically, this is going to be a cakewalk for a Buffalo team that, look, 6 weeks ago, maybe the Browns pull it off. But right now, with Josh Allen firing on all cylinders, with the offense clicking the way it is, I just don't see a way the Browns win that. Miami v. Baltimore. It just is Baltimore, isn't it, really? Again, I like the Chiefs, but the Baltimore are a different level defensively. They're going to strain Tua, who Tua isn't the elitist of quarterbacks when facing those big defenses. I think a unit like Baltimore will get the better of him. As much as the Miami offense is great, Lamar can put up too many points. The Ravens are finding too many ways. They're doing what the Eagles once did, find these like little cool players to kind of come in and break out. Someone like Odell played a big role for them, for Christ's sake. Like, they're not spending a ton of money. They're just finding players the right way through the draft and building them up, and it's working brilliantly. NFC, Detroit and Dallas. Oh, fucking hell. I'm going Detroit. I'm going Lions. Dallas is toothless. Dallas is the bully that picks on kids that are scrawny and built like me, okay? They wouldn't pick on a 6'5" bodybuilder. They wouldn't say the same shit to someone that's twice their size or older than them in school. But they'll pick on the kids that might have autism, ADHD, that are a bit weird. They'll pick on them all day. That's Dallas. They can only beat bums. They can't beat a good team. Detroit's a good team. I think the Lions get it done. Eagles, Niners. Why am I talking myself into this? When it comes down to it, after 2 weeks of slagging them off. Do I believe in the Eagles to walk into San Francisco in the divisional round and get something done? That's the question. I can't decide. I genuinely can't decide. I'll take the Eagles against the spread, if that helps. The thing is, I think they win. I'm going to back it. In this scenario, they win because they know there is a chance that they either get revenge on the Cowboys and they can go on a full revenge tour throughout the playoffs, or they face the Lions, who are a very beatable team. For the Eagles, the Lions are beatable. Oh, no, it's reset. What the hell? What the hell? It just reset on me. Oh, no, that's not what we wanted at all. Right. And then we had that, that, and that. Okay, right, we're back. We're back. Championship games. The Eagles beat the Lions. I can't believe I've deluded myself into this. Eagles beat the Lions. It's got to be the Ravens. They've been the better team all year. The Ravens have been the most complete team in football. And when it comes to it in the Super Bowl, I think it... Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate doing this to myself. I get so deluded. What has happened? I think Ravens. I think, if I'm honest, the Eagles have... there's too much defensive change to stop the Ravens, really. They can limp by Tampa Bay. Revenge will fuel them past these next two games, or San Fran and Detroit, or Dallas, whichever way round it is. You know, again, you can go on that run. Whichever way round it is. But I think as soon as you get to the Super Bowl, it's different. I think that, you know, there'll be memories of last year with the Eagles making some weird bozo decisions. The Ravens are just a well-coached, well-oiled hardball machine that just cannot be stopped, that will roll over. It's just discipline. It's like military-style play of just resilience and, I guess, discipline. They're a disciplined team. They're a buttoned-up team. They play hard. They're aggressive. They do their assignments, and they force errors. The Eagles are an error-prone team that have limped by on talent alone. And because of that, I think the Ravens win because they've got the other element that the Eagles lack. So it'll be a second Super Bowl heartbreak in as many years for the Eagles, but they make it through the conference round, through the chat. They become NFC champions, and that means Nick Sirianni stays another year, and we can do this roller coaster all over again next year. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's see what we've got. I want to see what we're saying here with these comments, because I completely forgot about that bit. Sky, the SB bracket. Do you watch games on Sky Sports? I do. That or a totally... I don't use streams, actually. I use very legal streams. So a really cool tip took out how CJ Stroud's a top 3 QBV zone, but he's bottom 10 V man, and the Browns are the best man. You're naughty. You're a filthy young man, you are. You have too much ball knowledge, is your issue, Isaac. You're too intelligent. I like that. That's the sort of analysis we need. Duck, no need to apologize, my friend. All is well. Teresa wants the Browns to win. Do you understand how cold it's gonna be? Yes. And that's the thing. It's not cold. It'll be cold for the Chiefs as well. Like, it's not just cold. Oh, the Chiefs will be favored because they're used to playing in cold. No one's used to that temperature, so I think it neutralizes. Liam might be cooking with the Dolphins pick. Might be so cold that any passing game won't work, and Miami have the better run. See, I'm telling you. The Rams are going to win this one. They're hot right now. He's a Brit. You have to give it to him. Although Zach is also a Brit, so you shouldn't give it to him. Jalen Hurts' throwing hand is injured. Give the ball to running backs more. Completely agree. All these fables being told about an Eagles win got me feeling like I'm around a campfire. I don't know what that laugh was. That was horrendous. I said, but yeah. Liam having to give a 5-paragraph essay response to why the Eagles should win to tell you all you need to know, unfortunately. Lions get their revenge. It's going to be the Niners. Sky, know you're chatting BS. Dear Liam, it'll be the off-season. I need some time to do it. And right now, like, it moves too quick. Like, I've had to... I don't know if you've been on the PSN website, but I've had to write a betting preview for every playoff game. There's one I haven't done yet. I've got to do a same-game parlay piece for every playoff game on top of usual content. It's a bit busy at the minute, but I will get there, I promise. The Eagles haven't given us hope recently, but I will give you hope. I will give you hope. And that is all we need. We just need, we need to roll through this as a group. Deep down, every Eagles fan is delusional. Glad I can help. I saw your good Bills article. Oh, thank you. Look at that. Look, see, TMC. What a man. TMC, more like my MV, my Valentine. That's what I bloody say. On that note, guys, before I get too romantic about you all, thank you for hanging out tonight and enduring those playoff predictions. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and you enjoy the slate of football that is the only thing that is going to heat up that freezing tundra in Kansas City. I can't wait. There are so many good games on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Enjoy yourselves. Thank you for another week of support and for discussing and listening to these Eagles therapy sessions. I'll see you on Monday, 6 p.m. for the Eagles-Bucks pre-game stream. We'll have all the analysis. Or maybe see if I can get a guest or two or something like that. But go Birds. We'll see you on Monday. Take care. Bye. I'm really not good at goodbyes, am I? See you later.